Last week in CS, ESL took a stronger stance on crowd cheating, Donk flexed his reaction time, and JL found himself on another bench. The biggest news, of course, was IEM Krakow, with ESL bringing CS back to a city that hasn't seen a big CS event since the PGL Major in 2017. Legacy got smashed in Stage 1, then decided to forfeit PGL Cluj-Napoca in order to bin Lux for art before their flight home had even landed. FUT will be replacing Legacy in Cluj and held their own here in Krakow and finished 9th to 12th, level with NaVi and FaZe, whose 2026 continues to be a disaster. After an embarrassing blast exit to eyeballers, they bombed out of Krakow in 9th to 12th. They were demolished by 3D Max with only a temporary brokey resurgence against BC Game, preventing them from being completely shut out, just for him to be back on the bottom again for their next series against Maus. Speaking of Maus, they continued their consistent playoffs appearances, but yet again fell short of reaching a grand final. They eliminated FaZe and sent Falcons packing in the group stage, and then took out G2 2-0 in the quarters. Furia absolutely annihilated Aurora in the quarters with a Queserato masterclass, a big 1.8 rating across the series. Spirit, who sailed through the group stage, only dropping one map, met Furia in the semi-finals, and Donk's scoreboard-topping performance wasn't enough to beat Molodoy and the boys, who secured their first grand final of 2026. Vitality's playoff berth against Maus was a 2-0 domination, 13-7 on Nuke, and then a 13-6 on Vitality's pick of Dust 2. ZywOo displaying lethal form, looking to prove the critics of his #1 Player of 2025 award wrong. The Frenchman was razor sharp, posting a 1.68 rating and 104 ADR across the series. He didn't skip a beat in the grand final either. Things looked great for Vitality on the first map, Furia's pick of Mirage. They posted a 10-2 CT side, but then, as the side swapped, Furia mounted a formidable comeback, with Yekindar posting 124 ADR on the CT side and Molodoy joining him at the top of the scoreboard. Despite Flamesy's best efforts with some incredible multi-kills, Furia ended up taking their map pick 13-11, a frustrating start for them. The bounce back was immediate though. On Inferno, ZywOo seemingly couldn't put a step wrong, finishing the map 27-10 with a 2.22 rating, 9 kills ahead of the next player on the scoreboard. Furia had a shaky CT and then an even worse T side, letting Vitality sweep them aside. Moving on to Nuke, things didn't improve for Fallen and Co. After a quiet grand final so far, Mezzy decided it was his turn to take the spotlight. Finishing 18-5 with a 2.26 rating, Vitality looked like they were smurfing on Furia, battering them 13-2 and ending Furia's 8-map streak on Nuke in humiliating fashion. Furia's last chance came on Vitality's pick of Overpass, and here is where the previous big performers of Yekindar and Molodoy went missing. The Brazilian trio attempted to pick up the slack, but Vitality proved too strong. ZywOo became a force of nature, stacking bodies every time Furia came close, giving Vitality their first tournament victory of 2026. 3 new LAN events were announced this week. BC Game Masters will be taking place in Romania in March with a $50,000 prize pool and seeding based on the March VRS. Relog have announced they're launching a 16-team $30,000 LAN in Cyprus in April, which will take place just before the major cutoff, allowing some teams to score extra VRS points right before Cologne. The final controversial entry to this week's LAN announcements was the Esports Nations Cup. Announced Counter-Strike is on the menu, with the event being listed as a VRS Tier 2 event. It's caused some discussion as the ENC requires teams to feature 5 players with the same citizenship, but no more than 3 players from the same VRS ranked team. This means a club could release 3 of their core lineup into a national team and earn VRS ranking points through the ENC. With $1.3 million worth of prizes, it's kind of a big deal. The much-awaited 100 Thieves CS2 debut in the IEM Atlanta Open qualifier didn't quite go as they hoped. They lost to Maus NXT in the 4th round of play. Poi and Agile both finishing with below 60 ADR in that map. It was the veterans of Rain and Device who were topping the scoreboard. The Blast Open Rotterdam qualifiers finished with Tyloo and NIP securing wins over Linvision and Gamer Legion respectively. NRG and 9Z later followed them through the door, with the teams now set for the $1.1 million prize pool tournament taking place at the end of March. CCT Season 3 Europe Series 14 concluded with Magic taking first over BetBoom in a 2-1 grand final. And looking forward to this week, we've got the IEM Atlanta closed qualifier, CCT3 Europe Series 15, and the Season 16 closed qualifier, CCT Season 3 NA, JV Pro League Female, and of course the start of PGL Cluj-Napoca 2026 with 9 of the top 10 teams present. We'll see you next week.